What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Flames back at it again today with another video. Today, we're going to be reading out of Genesis chapter 38. Yeah, I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving yesterday. I know I had a fun time with my family. Got to talk to some people, spend some time with my family, always good. I don't know if y'all watched my video yesterday about me talking, what I'm going to be doing with my future. I'm not really too sure. Um, Today at work, I was only there for a few hours, because it was really not busy. But like bro, sometimes when like I'll try and ask like somebody a simple question or something like, or especially like my manager, like something's like busy going on, like try to ask a question about something. Like every once in a while, like today, they'll snap at me, you get hella pissed. Like I'm really not trying to deal with that. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, that's everyday stuff with everybody, and a lot of people, are like, Gen Z, soft generation, um, can't handle, you know, can't handle criticism, can't handle people talking to them, can't handle being criticized. But when it's just blatant disrespect, when I'm, trying to be cordial and trying to be nice, and I'm not even responding, like I really want to be like, yo, shut up talking to me like that. I can't, I care about, especially when I'm trying to act like that. Like I think we let old people slide. I'm not saying, my manager, he's a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? He's deep down, I'm sure he's a good person. He's probably just, sees me as an opportunity. He probably thinks he could just talk to me like that for whatever reason. But I mean, I don't really care. There's only so much I could take before I either get upset or I just quit, you know? But yeah, I feel like a lot of the times we let older people like slide for, disrespect like way too much. Like it's like okay because they're old. Like if anything, they should be more respectful because they're old. Maybe they don't care because, they're gonna, they're like, F it, I'm gonna die soon, might as well just do whatever. But, I think it's just crazy. Like there's just a guy at my work too, works the bar. Um, and he's just always cranky and getting mad. Like people were just like, yeah, whatever. Like, but if I were to act like that, it would be a huge problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how is my generation the disrespectful, not trying to take anything from nobody generation? I think people just stick up for themselves more and realize that we don't need to give respect to these older people just because they're old. Old people, like, I don't know, but I'm just trying to, do my best to try and be as nice as I can to everybody because I don't always feel like, I'll be honest, I don't always feel like being nice. So, you know, but yeah, that's it for that. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think about that. If you think I'm right or, if you have anything to build off of that. But yeah, I'm gonna get started with the reading. Chapter 38. It happened at that time that Judah went down from his brothers and turned aside to a certain Ardemilite, whose name was Hira. There Judah saw the daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. He took her and went into her, and she conceived and bore a son, and called his name Ir. She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. Yet again she bore a son, and she called his name Shelah. And Judah was in Shittim when she bore him. And Judah took a wife for Ir his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Ir, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, go to your brother's wife and perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her, and raise up offspring for your brother. But Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. So whenever he went, so whenever, wait, hold on. So whenever he went into his brother's wife, he would waste the semen onto the ground, as to not give offspring to his brother. And what he did was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and he put him to death also. Wait, hold on. Go into your brother's wife, perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her, and raise up your offspring. Dang, so he died for pulling out. That's crazy. Then Judah said to Tamar, his brother-in-law, remain a widow in your father's house till Shelah my son grows up, for he feared that he would die, like his brothers. So Tamar went and remained in her father's house. In the course of time, the wife of Judah, Shilah's daughter, died. When Judah was comforted, he went up to Tamar to his sheep shearers, he and his friend Hira the Adamite. And when Tamar was told, your father-in-law is going to Timnah to shear sheep, she took off her widow's garments and covered herself with a veil, wrapping herself up, and sat at the entrance to Anan, which was on the road to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown up, and she had not given to him in marriage. And when Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. He turned to her at the roadside and said, come, let me into you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. She said, what will you give me that you may come into me? He answered, I will send you a young goat from the flock. She said, if you give me a pledge until you send it. He said, what pledge shall I give you? She replied, your signet and your cord and your staff that is in your hand. So he gave them to her and went into her. She conceived by him. Then she arose and went away. And taking off her veil, she put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by his friend to the Ammonite to take back the pledge from the woman's hand. He did not find her. And he asked the man of the place, where is the cult prostitute who was at Emim on the roadside? And they said, no cult prostitute has been here. So he returned to Judah and said, I have not found her. Also, the man of the place said, no cult prostitute has been here. And Judah replied, let her keep the things as her own, or we shall be laughed at. You see, I sent this young goat, and you did not find her. About 3 months later, Judah was told, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has been immoral. Moreover, she is pregnant by immorality. And Judah said, bring her out and let her be burned. As she was brought out, she sent word to her father-in-law, by the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant. And she said, please identify whose these are, the signet and the cord and the staff. And Judah identified them and said, she is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah. And she did not know her again. When the time of her labor came, there were twins in her womb. And and when she was in labor, one put out a hand, and the midwife took and tied a scarlet thread to his hand, saying, this one came out first. But as she drew back his hand, behold, his brother came out. And she said, what a breach you have made for yourself. Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward his brother came out with the scarlet thread in his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. That was a lot. So Judah. I'm just gonna look real quick. I'm a little curious. Um, I'm gonna look something up real quick, guys. One sec. Who is? One sec, guys. Sorry. Okay, that's right. Okay, I knew Judah was one of Jacob's sons. He's Jacob's fourth son. Okay. Um. Okay. Yeah. So basically, they were about to kill this girl. It's kind of hypocritical. Like they were about to kill her for sexual immorality when the entire time, one of the people, that was a part of that. Yeah, Judah literally, it says right here, and Judah said, bring her out and let her be burned. As she was being, so he was the person who told her that she needed to be burned alive. That she needed, this is the same person that did this stuff to Joseph, that she needed to be burned alive. And the whole time, he was the dad. He was the dad. So it's crazy, it kind of goes to show, there's a saying in the Bible. It's don't I don't know where this is from, but it's don't try and take the speck out of your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own. And that's a good example, kind of like how harsh, things used to be. Women for cheating, they just get stoned to death. Now it's glorified. Girl, like now you're a girl boss. Now you're, you know what I'm saying? But like it's really crazy stuff. But yeah, so four twins, and I guess the moral of the story here is like, you know, kind of the same thing. Don't worry about yourself, like, and don't overly judge people for things that they're doing when you're doing the same. You gotta self-reflect. Can I really get mad at this person? Can I? And a lot of the times, maybe without even realizing it, you do the same thing, or you're just, being completely hypocritical. But yeah, that'll be it for today. I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate the love and support. Um, thank y'all. I appreciate every last one of you. I love y'all. Peace.